Hi, I'm Joe Corcoran from the Deb and Joe Corcoran Group at Keller Williams. Let's talk mortgage rates. Ugh, not the most exciting topic, but I hope we can shed a little light on something for you about what's going on with rates right now and why we think they could be headed lower. Okay, we've got some sound math to back things up thanks to a great webinar I was on the other day. And this is pretty sound and it's pretty easy to understand. So I want to flip over here to some slides and show you what we're looking at. Okay, at the beginning of the year, mortgage rates were 3.22%, beginning of last year. At the end of the year, they were 6.42. They pretty much doubled, right? That's a doubling of the interest rate in 1 year. Unprecedented, right? We had never seen rates double in a year. Now, 6.42 is not the end of the world. It's not 18 or 20%, ask your parents. But we did have rates that high at one point, and people still bought and sold houses. So 6.42, not the end of the world, but hey, we'd like them to be a lot lower, right? So here's why we think that they should be lower. Let's take a look at this next slide. What we see is that over the last 50 years, the 30-year mortgage rate has pretty much moved in unison with the 10-year Treasury yield. What's the average difference between the blue line and the green line? 1.7. Let's call that our average spread. So that's the average difference that we've seen. And this is a way that you can kind of predict where mortgage rates should end up, given these long-term trends. Now, short-term, it may go off course, but for the most part, it's right around 1.7, as you can follow on that graph. So given that, where should rates be today? Well, this morning, the average national mortgage rate was 6.15%. That's the number that was reported, 6.15. Why aren't they not 5.5%? Because that's where the difference is between the Treasury yield and that 1.79 that we traditionally find to be our mortgage rate. So today, whoops, went back to the wrong slide. Today, we see that the mortgage rate was 3.69% on the Treasury yield. The mortgage rate was 6.48. That's a difference of 2.79, not 1.79. If it was 1.79, they'd be a full point lower at about 5.5%. So it appears that that's where that mortgage rate should be headed, closer to 5.5%, given our historical average. What we saw over the last year was a lot of volatility. There was a lot of panic because of the Fed raising the interest rate for banks. That rate doesn't directly affect mortgage rates, but you know, everything plays together here. It's economics. So we saw that spread between the 10-year Treasury and the mortgage rate as high as 3.2% higher back here in October and November. And it's bounced around a little bit since then. But the overall trend now is back down again. But as you can see here, there's still almost a 1% difference. So that's what we're looking at when we say, well, 6.15% was the national rate this morning. It should probably be closer to 5.5. And we're going to make a guess here that that's where rates should be headed over the next month or so. Hopefully we get back onto that trend line and we get back into kind of a little more predictable market. So that helps buyers afford more home, qualify, and pay less money for their new home in the long run with a mortgage rate. Okay? So if you have any questions, reach out. You can find me at joe@debandjoe.com or call or text 610-442-0150. 610-442-0150 is my number. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Always look forward to hearing from you. Take care. Have a great week.